Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the podcast that nobody asked to come back. Welcome back to Jsjj. Um, we've been off for about 9 months, and now we're uploading another video.
We've been gone too long. We missed it. We're coming back.
We've decided that there's, especially somehow during the holidays, we've decided that we're gonna take a break from our retail jobs and go back to our podcast.
Even though
um,
this is one of the most busiest it gets for me.
anyway, if you don't know, I'm John Sucks.
And I'm Jimby.
And if you haven't been paying attention at all to the last few episodes, the movie we're doing today, the movies we're doing today, is the Chronicles of Riddick. If you don't know, there's a movie podcast where we just watch movies,
Shoot the shit.
shoot the shit, talk
Talk
about the
talk about
movies.
yeah.
Basically,
Just really simple stuff.
we trade off on movies every month. Like if I haven't seen a movie, Jimmy will suggest one for me.
Yep.
If Jimmy hasn't seen a movie, I'll suggest one for him.
Yep.
And now here we are. So,
It's simple as that.
so let's just get right into it, huh?
All right.
Um,
I want to start this first one off and preface this in when I first saw the
well,
first movie in this series.
right. Let's
Okay.
let's talk about the Riddick series a little bit. So it was directed
Okay.
by David Twohy.
Twohy?
Twohy. I think that's how you pronounce it.
That's a interesting last name. T
Twohy.
W Twohy.
And then I see screenplay by Ken and Jim Wheat.
Ken and Jim Wheat.
Don't know those guys, but I definitely saw the movie.
Let me see. What did they do? Free Fall. They did the fourth Nightmare on Elm Street. They did Ewoks: The Battle of Endor.
Oh Jesus Christ! Ewoks.
Um, the hell?
The
That's
Stepford
it. Yeah, the
Husbands.
writers are. It's weird.
They did a lot of TV movies before Pitch Black. Bless you.
I muted that.
Um. Jimby, you suggested this movie for us to watch, so um, I'll let you know. I thought these movies were fucking weird.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Man, originally going into it when you're like, oh, it's Vin Diesel, it's gonna be a fun action movie.
I was just gonna be like, yeah, it's a fun. But it really feels like that. It's like a like now that I started watching, like the first movie was like kind of, and this. It feels like a big. All these movies feel like a big Vin Diesel circle jerk, but
Yes.
It feels like it's perpetuated though by Vin Diesel, but it's not him. He didn't.
Like
I'm
there's two series I hold Vin Diesel to, and it's Fast and the Furious and Chronicles of Riddick. What do I hold him stronger for? Chronicles of Riddick. Because the way that he acts in this movie and the way he portrays this fucking character is like, I own this character, this character's mine, and nobody else's. Nobody can do anything but me.
I think that's what makes it so fantastic though, because like
Oh, he
it's
just takes this character and runs with it. I
it's like
love it
everything
so
you've heard
much.
about Vin Diesel is confirmed in in these series of movies. Like, I guess for now, let's go into the first one. So the
Okay.
first one's called Pitch Black.
Okay. And I'm gonna
Um,
loop back to what I was saying earlier
right.
with Pitch Black. I remember I had my dad sit my brother and I down and go, "This is one of the scariest movies I've seen for a while." And my brother and I were like, "Oh, this is gonna be spooky, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And we proceed to start watching the movie, and the movie starts off where you're in space. You
Right.
hear a voiceover from Vin Diesel, who is the character of Riddick, and he's given a whole thing talking about what was it, like deep space hibernation, how it's only your animal side is awake, and how everybody's asleep except Riddick because he's just an animal, is kind of like what they're trying to like
Yeah, he portrays
convey in
himself.
that.
He's like I'm crazy. I'm a criminal.
Yeah,
I'm cool.
I'm
Like
wild.
I'm a wild
I think
child.
outside the box. Yeah, and so a meteor shower hits. It goes through their ship. It breaks a bunch, like apart their ship, and in the process of that happening, it kills the captain. So the co-captain
And the pilot.
gets, yeah, and the pilot, yeah, they get taken out of their cryo sleep and have to try and rush and figure out how to, save as many people as they can.
And
So they,
yeah, keep going.
yeah, and so they go to the end. They start flipping all these switches, doing all this stuff, and the lady almost, I can't remember if
Fry.
she does or doesn't. What?
Fry, right? That's her name, Fry.
I think so.
That's her
Yes. Let me.
something
Let
Fry.
me. Yeah, Carolyn. Carolyn Fry.
Carolyn Fry. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she is the pilot of this. So, um, or the docking pilot. Okay. Anyway, she's trying to do everything she can to save everybody on the
She's a
ship
crew
because
member. Yeah.
yeah, and because it's a whole entire passenger ship filled with cargo, doing all this stuff, but also transporting Riddick, who's supposed to go to a giant like prison. Right?
Right.
So he's in this big area back.
He's all chained up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a criminal.
And so all this stuff happens. They do their best, but they have to emergency like land,
Crash land onto the planet.
yeah. So they manage to crash land on this planet, and they get out, see what all the damage is, and they're like, okay, what about all the other people? And they look back, and the whole entire back area is just completely gone. So they're
And
like, oh, everyone's dead except like everybody in this small little area of the ship.
then we're introduced to the planet of Dutch angles.
Yeah.
There's so many fucking Dutch angles in the entire series of these movies.
It's so good.
It's like, like all the
Yeah.
time. We also on the way there we get introduced to our ragtag group of
Oh,
friends.
yeah, that's right.
So we get like a space Muslim, the best I can say.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
I
in,
mean,
like-
he's on his way to New Mecca.
He's on his way to
that,
which
that's
is
like
a
the whole
planet.
thing.
He's just
Yeah.
how did it advance to this? But it's like that's the best I can describe it because like they're doing
Yeah,
like
he's a Muslim that has three people underneath him, which are like three like teenager kids that he's taking.
yeah,
To
played
the
by
promised land. I think it's promised
Keith
land,
David,
New
right?
Mecca or some shit. That's how they say it.
It's played by Keith David, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
We all know Keith David. Like Ramirez, get to Burger Town.
Yeah, that's the number one that I think of.
We got Johns with an S. Johns. I'm not sure if that's his first name or something like that.
It's William
J.
Johns.
Johns.
Yeah.
But it's just weird that they call him like they call like literally everybody by their last name.
Yeah. And
So
they just call Keith David the Holy Man.
yeah, they just call him the Holy Man.
I think they may actually say his name, but like everybody just goes Holy Man, or else just refers to him in like, oh, you over there or something. They really don't like call him by name.
There's an antique guy who's just a dick.
Yeah. There's the antique guy. There's the what was it, Zeke, which is that one like Australian lady's companion who just digs the whole movie.
There's Jack, who doesn't seem as significant as in the first movie, but like is very significant in the second movie.
Yeah, which we'll come to that.
We'll come
I
to
feel
that.
like
We're on the first movie still. There's Riddick, who's in the back.
Mhm. Anyway, there's just like a bunch of people that
And there's two
do
Australian people. There's Zeke and Shaza.
Sjjj, yeah, which are just kind of
They're just kind of there.
Yeah.
Like you see them and like they don't have much besides like, ah, that's a bloody outrage, it is, and then they just
Yeah.
and then they just
Give,
die.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my Prime Minister.
So everybody's confused. Everybody's, looking around. They're like, "Oh, who's still alive? We got to make sure we like follow the trail where we crash land to see if there's anybody still left." So they go and try and do that. But Johns is currently
He's currently on.
upset
Yeah, because Riddick got away.
because Riddick is out, and everybody in this beginning part, you're just like, "Oh, Riddick's a criminal. Riddick's a bad guy. He's gonna go around. He's gonna start killing people. It's gonna be a horror movie in that sense, where it's like there's these eight there's all these people, and then there's this like one like bad guy, and he's gonna be like a slasher, and you're like, oh, okay, like this is gonna be weird, right?
And
Like
he's
this
like,
is gonna be kind of cool.
and there's like some fun shots of him, like like there's like the moment when when Johns and Fry are talking, and then you just see Riddick just like doodling around in the background with the, and he's like, it's like, how do you not see him? He's right there, like
where he has like a bone knife, and then he like slices off a piece of her hair, and then like starts sniffing it. And you're like,
yeah, and I that, but like, let me like the best part about this thing is that Riddick's supposed to be like our buddy, like our hero, but he's just a fucking weirdo.
well, the thing is, we don't know that he's supposed to be like the hero,
Right?
until like halfway through, which this movie takes a drastic turn. Like there is a good set of like first half, second half, and each half is like completely separate genres. Like the
Right.
first half is just kind of thriller, space, sci-fi adventure kind of deal. And then
Like we gotta survive on this incredibly like washed out planet.
yeah. And so in that sense, everybody's trying to figure out what's going on, what's happening. They're trying to find people. They're figuring out if they can survive. They're looking for all of the ways that they can get out. They can do all this stuff. And what is it? They finally manage to
Decide to
find
move, I guess.
well, they find like this one like plant or like this one like outpost that has like an escape ship. But when they're there and they're like looking in a bunch of like in a bunch of these areas, they find there's this one like solar system thing that's like spinning around.
Yeah, I
And
remember that.
what's this whole thing about? And then it turns out that it lines all of the planets up where this planet originally has 3 suns. Right? It's like 3 suns
Yeah,
or two
it's like
suns or something like that.
two
It's
or
like
I think
everywhere you
it's
go, there's a sun.
yeah. And then there's like one moment
And
in time when they like, well, that's like the second half of the movie is like the one moment in time where it's like actually dark, thus pitch black.
right. So like this whole like it's a little misleading in the very beginning. Yeah, very beginning is like it's kind of fun, but it's like it's okay. I definitely see what you mean by it's slow and it builds up and it's just like
It builds up, but it just like it took me so long to get through like the first half of the movie.
yeah.
And and I get it, right? Like it's really trying to like, and like I like what they do, but like I'm just not interested in any other character besides Riddick
Yeah. And they really don't really do anything with Riddick until like
until way later.
I wouldn't say way later. I'd say like halfway through the first. So it's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. Establishing people, figuring out things, going down with all that stuff. And then you get to the point where they manage to knock Riddick out, right? And then tie him back up. And then there's that whole entire section of what is it? Jack comes in and goes, where can I get eyes like those?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got to kill a few people. He's like, I can do that. He's like, then you got to get sent to a slammer where you will never see sunshine for the rest of your days.
And then
you
like,
gotta dig
and
up
then
a
John's
doctor.
like, all right, break it up.
Shine job, and then just like starts doing this whole thing talking about like how he got these eyes because like you find out that Riddick has these eyes.
Jack
that
is a
allows him
woman, by the
basically
way. I'm letting you know. I didn't know that. I realized that Jack was Jack until like the second movie. Like until I
Yeah.
rewatched the first movie after watching the second movie, I was like, oh, that was Jack.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's yeah.
Because
I
like
mean, we're already in spoiler territory, but they say that towards the end of the movie, where it's like, oh, like these like, oh, the woman's bleeding, and then like Carolyn's like, I'm not bleeding, and he was like, her, and then points to Jack, and he's like, how did you
yeah, I
know?
remember that. He's like, how'd you guys figure it
I
out?
thought you'd like me. Yeah, we'll get there. So yeah, you're finding out all this stuff. Riddick's got these eyes. Carolyn's the only one who can pilot this ship. Um, the the people that are like the most non-essential also become like really fun in the sense of like Keith David's character. I really like Keith David's character in this. How he always tries to like keep everything like super joined up together, trying to get people not to fight with each other, trying to have like everybody work together. But Johns is like, nah, fuck Riddick. And then everybody's like, oh, Riddick's a bad guy, and Riddick's just like, man, I just want to get the fuck out of here and not go to prison. That's all I want.
Johns also does space drugs,
Yes, he does morphine that he injects straight into his eyeball. And so
which is weird.
he it was really weird when I was first watching it, and he has these ammo pouches or like these little shotgun shells that he pulls out and has a little thing of morphine in it, and then he would stick it into his eye. And when I was younger, that was the scariest part of Pitch Black to me, was watching this dude stick a needle like almost right in his eye to inject morphine. And
It
I was
just
like,
like
I hate
the best way I could describe this movie with like all these kinds of like there's so much shit in it. Just means just like space. Look at all the
that.
space things. Like, and
I
I think that's like another part that I really like about it is that it just like it's it's it wears its tropes like right on its belt. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh, it goes into the movie going, this is a space adventure and we're building a world and you're gonna understand the world that we're building. And like even through the other Riddick movies, you're like, oh, they legitimately made like a sci-fi world.
right.
Like this is actually kind of cool. Um, and it's weird to have Pitch Black, which is technically a horror movie. Like I guess, yeah, it's technically a horror movie when you get to the second half.
Right.
Because like I was saying, my dad said this was one of the scariest movies that he saw for a while, and I'm still absolutely like blown away and puzzled by that he thought this movie was
Yeah,
scary.
because like I'm watching it, it's like these effects like do not hold up at all. Because like there's that
No.
one part where just like the little aliens like kind of tear up that one lady, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
like and it's like I guess she's dead. Like
Or like there's all the birds that come over and then like just absolutely eat through the kid's skin.
yeah.
And,
Like
and it just like really quickly it takes them out and you're like, what the hell?
there's the
But there
part
are like
there's a part where they're in the ship, they're searching that ship, right? And then like I guess like it's like where's Hassan? And just like Hassan's just like fuck, I better get out of here. Runs away and then
yeah, just dead. There's also the one where there is the guy and he's like, oh, I think it's Riddick, and it's like, oh no, it's not Riddick. As they like try to swing like that axe into
yeah.
the guy, and the guy's like, oh my god, I finally found you, and then he gets shot like 4 times in the back.
Yeah, and
And then you're
the
just like,
mercenaries. I forgot the mercenaries show up at one point.
yeah. Well, I think no, those were people from the other part of the ship that still survived.
Something
Like
like that.
I think it was some guy like that. But then like Zeke, fucking Shaz's companion, was just all like, "Oh shit, I thought that was Riddick." He's like, "Come on, man. You just you just gun down the first person as he's like sitting there like pleading for his life."
And I'm gonna be honest. You're like the end. It just gets kind of fuzzy for me.
Oh
I don't.
yeah, yeah.
I forget exactly how this movie ends, but I was just like, okay,
Okay.
like, and like
Anyway.
but Pitch Black was like was pretty good for what I I've seen of it.
Yeah.
I didn't take much notes of Pitch Black more than I made notes of the other movies. Um,
There there's a lot that they put in Pitch Black that I do want to talk about that like so I watched this with one of my friends who had no idea what any of this was. I
mhm.
was just like, "We're going to watch this movie." And she's like, "Okay." So, one of the things that we realized and found out was like the way they make Riddick feel in this one is like a cartoon bad guy with like a good side. Like a because there's the scene where she's doing all of the stuff like in the landing craft or whatever that they have to bring all of the energy cells from their crashed ship to put in and take off right before it hits night. That's their main mission. That's the whole thing that's going down. So when
Right.
she's figuring out how much power is left, if there's anything, what they need to do, Riddick goes into the cockpit with her and locks the doors and starts being all like really up close and personal and stuff. But like it didn't feel necessarily like a sense of like, oh, this is uncomfortable. He's getting too close to her. This is like, nah, this is like a villain over your shoulder, like in a Disney movie, like the snake coming up and like whispering shit to you because he's just like he doesn't see you as a person. He wants to get the fuck out of here. So he's gonna
Yeah.
do whatever he can. So he's gonna slyly do
He.
all this shit and
Yeah.
he's
Like
gonna be like, you know, work his magic on this stuff. And I was like, I really like that because like he didn't seem creepy. He did not seem like predatorial in
that's
the
one
way
thing I
that like he
got.
did it.
Yeah, that's the one thing I got pretty quickly. Where just like Riddick is, he's not. I wouldn't say he's essentially like a. Well, I guess he is a bad guy, but like,
He's just his own thing.
but
He's an outlaw.
he's an
He's
outlaw. Yeah,
yeah.
but like they try to like make him justified for like his like the murders and stuff like that.
Way many too many.
Like they
He
try to
has
like
no issue killing people
he has
and
no
stuff.
issue. He just does it because like he's super cool.
Yeah.
And like it's just like
It,
that's the character of Riddick.
it's mostly just like, oh, he wants to do his own thing, and if anybody gets in his way, he's not going to let anyone stop him, kind of deal.
Right, exactly.
And that's like, you know, earned him like bad reputation, and he's just kind of riding off of that. Where he's all like, oh, you know, if everybody's scared of me, then nobody needs to be around me.
He's
That's
basically
perfect.
just like you heard the stories. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
Riddick. Like
Yeah, exactly. And so like in the first one, he has such this villain like bad guy, but it's all like, oh, we got to team up with the bad guy. So like it's kind of funny seeing all the little
it it
points
doesn't
of him.
I love it because it doesn't feel like Riddick is a character. It feels like Vin Diesel as Riddick. Like it's just like it feels so much it's like Vin Diesel goes to space and this is what he would do.
I
Like,
the thing thing I love about Riddick the most is he is probably my favorite character Vin Diesel plays
I agree with
because
that. I agree with that too.
he goes so deep into like it's kind of embarrassing like if I were to have like do Riddick and do some of the stuff he does, but he does it in just such a way that it's like this is very charming. I love this.
I love it because it's like Triple X in space. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's I like and but like the first movie I everyone told me that the first movie is the best one. I don't know. I like the first movie a bit, but like it's just like at one point I just kind of stopped. I didn't even know Fry died. Like I didn't even like I kind of like forgot
Oh.
all about that. By the way, Fry dies. By the way, spoiler alert.
Yeah. So
Um,
okay, so
we're
okay,
going
so
to spoilers a little bit now.
we're okay, so there's the whole thing. They're trying to get a escape. They're going back, they're grabbing their stuff. They're needing energy cells for the landing craft to escape. So as they're doing this, they realize that there's these things that live inside the planet that are aliens that only come out during the dark because the light burns them. So they're
Right.
like, okay, we can't do that. But since there's a
Oh,
whole like a eclipse going on, the whole entire planet's blacked out. So they have to have any form of light that they can around them at all times so that way they won't get killed. And so they're doing a whole adventure to go back there, grab their stuff, trying to bring back before their light sources run out. But in the meantime, as shit's like that's happening, people are slowly being picked off until it
Yeah.
gets to a point where Johns is just like, yo, I'm gonna kill Riddick. And Riddick's like, nah, fam, I ain't doing that. And then they have like a whole battle, and then everybody just starts watching them like fight it out. And they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah. I remember that now.
let the animals fucking deal with the shit themselves and stuff. So
Exactly.
like,
Like John's just is like with his pride, he's just like, I gotta get Riddick. I gotta get him. Like,
yeah. And instead of being all like, oh, we need to survive this together, we need to do this, he's like, no, Riddick's gonna be like a
it's all
precious
Riddick's fault.
bounty.
Even
Yeah,
though
it's
it's
all
really
Riddick's
not
fault.
Riddick's fault.
It's the fucking asteroids in the in space.
He got hit by
All.
asteroids, and Riddick is honestly trying to help out. Like, he let
Yeah,
him go, and Riddick's trying to help everyone.
the thing, yeah, he helps every single fucking point he can, even though it originally starts off with "not my problem" and then proceeds to like do everything himself and just
Yeah.
like hold everybody up.
He,
Okay, it's just so many instances of that. Like, there's a couple points like there's like, oh, what was it? Doesn't somebody get like left behind and then he has to like run back and grab them and do something like that?
was
I
it?
feel like
I think Jack was
when
left
they're like,
behind, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah, something like that. And then like he comes helps Jack. There's some cool scenes in the dark though. Like, my favorite is the antique guy when he freaks out and then goes to the like, starts like crawling out because like something got left behind or some shit. And so he goes and grabs it and then realizes he's surrounded and then he's gonna die. And so like he drinks a little bit of his last like thing of booze and then like spits like fire out with like his lighter with like the booze, and everything around him is just all the aliens like rearing back from the light. And then right as it goes out, you just hear him just getting ripped apart. It's like, ah, I got that part. I was like, this is the coolest thing. I don't know why my dad's scared of this.
Like,
Like,
what's
this
it
is
called?
awesome.
Like, what's it called? You watch this movie, and you can immediately tell. Like, I'll like if you watch this movie, and I say this movie was made in the year 2000, you'd be like, yeah, yep, it's definitely made in the year 2000. Because
Yep.
it feels like that I'm watching, like, it feels like that I'm watching a movie where it's just like Star Wars Episode 1 came out. We got to make our own now.
Yeah.
So, and it's just like, but it's
It's
going to be super cool and in space and like,
I at least this one definitely does its own thing
I
to a
like this a
point.
lot. It does its own thing. Like, like the thing is, like, I like the world building a lot in this. Um, is that it's
It's
solid. It's not like great, but it's solid. You know, like
I
they have their world.
out of the most like solid, like well put together films, I'd say Pitch Black is the main one where it's all like you could watch Pitch Black without watching any of the others and you'd be fine,
I agree
right?
with that. I agree with that.
And then you get to which will cut down more of the stuff in the later half, but basically everybody dies except Riddick, Keith David, and the little girl Jack, which
Yeah.
you find out later is actually a
And
girl instead of a boy.
John's.
No, Johns dies. Yeah, no, Riddick is fighting him with the flare. Like, there's the flare going off, and then like he's having like the fist fight, and then like stabs him, and then like throws him to like the aliens, and then the aliens rip him apart. So it's only those three because
Wait, but spoilers. But just because I want to clarify,
yeah,
spoilers. Doesn't he show up in the third movie?
no, his dad shows up in the third movie.
His dad. His dad.
His dad, Johns' dad, shows up in the third movie and wants to know what happens to Johns.
But like it's played by the same actor,
No, it's not.
wasn't it?
No, no. Let me see. Which the third one is woo, that one's a that one's a doozy.
Anyway, but let's get
Yeah,
into
no, it's two different people. Yeah.
but to clarify, Pitch Black, I definitely need to just like sit down and watch a little more. Um,
I'd say definitely watch it, not in a group or just like
I'd want to watch it in a group.
full focus.
I feel like I need somebody to like to keep me watching it because
Okay.
I kept turning it on, right, and like every like 3 times I fell asleep just because
Oh, okay.
it's like 2 hours and it's them just walking through the desert.
Yeah,
Some stuff
it's a little
happens.
rough in the beginning. Like
But the second half really kind of like once I started getting more into it, the second half really kind of made me keep watching.
yeah. It's this is
Um,
one of those things where it's like it's really good at night. Just having a small group of people that are at least all focusing on the movie, watching it all in like that, and then like doing it like that. Because like when I watched it with my friend, like we were having conversation back and forth, but we didn't like necessarily miss anything. But it that one is like one that you have to be a little more focused on because there are some like really good moments in the very beginning, but also man, that desert just makes you tired. Like you're just like, I don't want to fucking. It's just, oh god.
ugh. But like the saturation on every shot is just like when there's a light on. It's like I get there's like 3 suns, but it's just like it's blue.
Mad. Oh, especially what was it? When there was the. Oh man, you might. Are we able to put clips in? Are we able to edit like little clips in? Because I'd love for you to show the clip in Pitch Black where they're thinking Riddick is coming through the door and they have like the axe and then like they go to swing it because it goes like photo negative for some fucking reason and then like turns sideways or some shit. And like the
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
and it's just like, why is this the only time they use this editing
Because
choice?
it was like the 2000s and the 90s. Cause it was just like we need to just like tilt it slightly, and we need to just
And they like they stretch it out or some shit.
stretch
Like,
it, yeah. And
like it gets real wild with like how some of the cinematography looks and like the editing and shit. It's like
the
I'm kind of
editing,
for it.
the editing of the 2000s really kind of comes into play in most of the Riddick movies.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was just David Twohy's like preference on this, but you could definitely see it in Pitch Black, and
Yeah.
you can tell right off the bat when they're doing it in the Chronicles of Riddick. Like
Yeah.
right off the bat, it's just like no holds barred. Like this is a David Twohy flick.
Yeah.
So moving into that one, just to
Yeah. So 3 people live. I'm gonna do a quick run through of Dark Fury,
Mhm.
and then we'll come back when you've actually seen it. Since Dark Fury is the only one that you haven't seen,
right,
and Dark Fury is only like
which is important for the series, which I didn't know.
yeah, it's like 30 minutes. It's really short. It's just like a little short. It's an it's an animation. So
Yeah.
what happens is, oh, go ahead.
Can we
Any
pause
last
here
things?
real quick? I need to pee.
Yeah, go for it. Oh. Okay. So I work at a movie theater. And if you go to a movie that's big, like currently the second Black Panther is currently out, if you decide that you want to go see Black Panther on opening week or weekend, like the Friday that it comes out, don't come 2 minutes before the last fucking showtime expecting that there's going to be seats in the back, or just don't expect to have seats in the back unless you reserved it ahead of time. Don't ever think that you can go to a new movie that comes out that's super popular, like a Marvel movie or something like that, and all you want is a seat in the back. You're not going to get it. You're going to maybe get the front row. That's all you're going to get. I don't give a shit.
I second that, and I don't work at a movie theater.
Like, it makes no sense. Like,
You-
why do you have a group of 6 fucking teenagers come in and go, "Hey, can we get 6 for Black Panther?" And then like I'm like, "Okay, yeah, here are the seats that are available." And it's only the first row, like right next to the screen. They're like, "Oh, what?" It's
Bruh,
like,
what the fuck?
"You're 2 fucking minutes before the fucking showtime starts."
Do you know how fucking
What do
popular
you
Marvel
think?
movies are? Do you think that like everyone in everyone, their father and their grandfather know exactly about that all these entire franchises, so they're gonna go to it because they're addicted to that shit. So
Next
of
to
course,
Marvel, the only 2 movies that I've seen do half as well or just as well is the Minions, which is all children, which honestly that one's fine because there were a lot of showtimes for that. But fucking Top Gun Maverick.
oh,
That stayed in our theater for 4 months.
people love that movie.
Man, that is a boomer's like absolute wet dream of a
A
movie.
wet dream of a movie. I mean,
It's great. It's a great movie. Love that movie.
the people I've seen, I work in a retail store helping old people, and they love Top Gun,
Oh yeah.
especially Top Gun. Like they love, like they're looking for it all the time.
Okay.
Um,
Anyway,
yeah,
back to it.
back to it.
Okay. So, Duke. Okay.
Cut here.
Um there is 3 people that are left on this ship. There is Riddick, the Holy Man, and Jack. And they managed to get up and they managed to leave. Um so that is the end of the movie. Only 3 people left. They escape. They finally get out. That's cool. Now it goes into Dark Fury. Where Dark Fury picks up is a big ship comes and grabs them and hooks into them, pulls them in, as all like, "Oh, we're scanning life forms. We hear that this one, like, we detect this life form of Riddick is on here, and we want Riddick." And they're like, "Okay, who can try and take this guy out?" So they get Tombs, who you find out in the second film. Tombs gets taken out of a hibernation sleep thing, so that way he can be sent just to try and take out Riddick. And you're like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Who's this guy? I don't know what's going on. He really doesn't do much. Then it goes to this one lady who apparently is a collector of people and has all this shit. Everything's really weird. All this stuff's whack and shit. Anyway, it's like a half-hour adventure, whatever. But like it does like a couple crucial things of introducing Tombs, kind of having figuring out how mercs work, seeing that like Riddick's really like in deep, that he's Riddick is still helping the Holy Man and Jack, still getting a bunch of that stuff down. So it's like you don't need to see Dark Fury um, between Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick. It helps a little bit, but in the beginning of Chronicles of Riddick, they started up and he kind of does all the small explanation of like kind of where people are, where he's all like, "Oh, I dropped the Holy Man off at New Mecca, and I dropped the girl off too, and I've been on the run since whatever." And it's like, okay, cool, you know,
Got it.
okay, I kind of have an idea of where things going. Now, I want to say the absolute 180 that this series does from Pitch Black to Chronicles of Riddick is absolutely astounding, and yet they make it work so well because it goes from Pitch Black, which was supposed to be somewhat of like a little horror, kind of a horror thriller
Horror
movie.
thriller, yeah, that
Yeah,
makes more sense.
can be its own like contained thing in itself. And they take that and they're all like, okay, there was some cool stuff in this world. Let's just make a whole movie about all of the batshit bonkers things that goes on in this world. And that's where we get introduced to necromongers, which
Right, which are like a big kind of coalition of people, just
I know like a hive mind in a sense, but like
like a cyber kingdom or something like that.
yeah, it's kind of like a hive mind in the sense of like you all share like a soul or some shit. I could be completely wrong on that, but
And
it's
like the
like,
same outfit, I guess.
yeah, it's just like building a giant army of like these like soulless creatures, or it's not creatures, but like
They're not really
it,
they're more like this. They're a kingdom more of it.
yeah, it's just like people that have been like put through this thing so that way they're loyal to the necromongers, and
Right.
it's just like, assimilate more people. If you don't bow down, you don't do this, you get your soul ripped out of you. And so they're just like really, overpowering, really scary, because they have like these abilities like nobody's seen. So these people keep going to all these different planets and trying to take over everybody. And so they manage to go to this place where, let me see, let me think about this. It starts with Riddick running away from Tombs, which Tombs is who you meet in Dark Fury. Um, and Tombs is hunting down Riddick. That's basically his whole job through the whole series, is just to hunt down Riddick. He doesn't end up getting Tombs, leaves him for dead. Riddick basically kills his crew, stays on his ship, leaves, kicks him off, and that's kind of where we see Tombs. So Riddick has to, what is he? Oh God, what is the main thing he has to do? He has to go visit Jack or the Holy Man for some reason, because they are the only people that know where Riddick is. So he thinks that one of them like tattled on him, basically. So he's going to like try and see what's going on with that. Then he kind of comes in contact with all of the different necromongers and shit as he's kind of learning about what's going on with all of that stuff, learning about that group of people, learning about all of the different things that people are trying to fight against it and stuff. And they hear about, what's going on. And then the planet gets invaded, and Riddick starts killing a bunch of these necromongers. But there's just one scene I absolutely love where they have this weird guy who has like a snorkel mask that like his whole face is blue, and another necromonger behind him has like a controller that has like a screen in the middle, and it's basically just an infrared sight, but they use a whole human being to do like the infrared sight. And like the guy's like looking at the screen going like, "Oh, like what's this guy seeing?" And then it's just like a infrared like shot of Riddick sticking his face so far like into the camera, just doing like a face as he's like crushing this dude's head, and you're just like,
Oh, right. I remember
what the
that.
fuck is happening?
I remember him crushing, and like he's just being just like some badass, and like the way they portray Riddick in the second one is like I wrote it down on I started writing more notes when it come to like the first and second movie. I
Yeah.
just wrote Riddick is Jesus. Um, they basically
he
portray him as some kind of like as like he can
Oh
do.
my god.
He's so badass. He can do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, he's able to get his way out of anything. And then like you see him do a bunch of like this really like genuinely fun stuff. Like once they get invaded and they do all this shit, um Tombs ends up taking him in and like
He's on
doing
like
this because
a
there's
prison. He's in like a
yeah.
prison. Yeah.
And so like he takes him to this prison where on the surface of the prison it's so hot that like it'll burn you instantly because of how close the sun is. So the prison is underneath like the crust of this planet, where it's like only at night you're able to like leave the planet or whatnot because your ship will burn up immediately, kind of deal.
Right.
So
Right.
like it's like making a whole big thing where it's like basically like a lava planet when the sun's out, kind of deal. So it's like this big thing, and Riddick gets sent to this prison. I'm sure there's a bunch of like lore shit we're fucking leaving out, but
Yeah.
like
Whatever. Whatever. Like honestly,
this
but
movie is so much longer.
So much lore. There's so much lore. There's just like it's just not enough to keep track. Because like there's like games. There's so much other shit as well that just portrays the actual story too. Like it actually it's like the canon too. And then while we're in the prison, we end up seeing Jack again.
Yep.
But Jack is now Kira.
Yeah. So Kira tried to follow in the footsteps of Riddick. She became a badass.
Right. But Riddick's just like, you just copied me, bro. Like,
he's like, I don't care. Like, I just want to get the fuck out of here. And she's like, you never cared about me. And he's like, I don't care now.
I don't.
Let me get the fuck out of here, dude.
I'm Riddick.
Then, yeah. And so there's like a lot of points where like people are like, oh, Riddick, you're the chosen one, or like you're the one to help us do this, or you know, like talking about like how they need to help him, and Riddick's
like the way he acts in this, he's like Riddick's a really, it makes me like Riddick's a really weird guy. Like he says like some really weird things later in this movie, and it's just like that came like, why did that come out of your mouth? Like,
yes. Which we will fucking get to when we get
I've written down some things that he said later in the movie. But
the third one has one of my least favorite but also favorite quotes from him.
Is it it matches your nipples?
Yes, that one.
We'll get to that. But
we'll get to that.
But I wrote that down because I was like, what? Like like what kind of
I had to pause the movie and go, hang on. Okay, so we're in the prison. We get introduced to Jack. We find out this prison's like a whole thing. Toombs is trying to get a certain amount of money.
He humble brags for a while.
Yeah, they do all this shit, and turns out that
I like the fight scene in the prison. I will say that where he says, "I'll kill you with my teacup."
Yes,
and he does.
That was one of my favorite parts.
Which makes me like Riddick in that, we're like as an action star more than just like, I'm eerie, I'm fucked up like in the first movie.
It's kind of like one of those things where it's all like, oh, he killed a dude with a fucking teacup.
He killed that dude with a fucking teacup, like.
Yeah, you know, it's like the John Wick thing where it's all like, I killed him with a pencil.
Yeah, with a it's like pencil. like stuff like that.
Yeah, it's
did it way before John Wick actually.
And then there's the scene where like these three people. So there's like a feeding time thing where like these big beasts come down and then everybody tries to lock themselves in to a cell to keep themselves safe from these animals.
There's the guy that dies on the surface of the planet you were talking about. They show a guy actually dying on the.
Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet. That's when they escape.
Right. I thought we were there.
There's the feeding time, and then it's like, oh, like this big like animal thing is coming in contact with Riddick. Is Riddick gonna kill it? Is Riddick gonna do this thing? And then like the guards walk out and see this, and then Riddick's just like
hanging out,
petting petting this thing.
He's like I'm an animal because I'm Riddick.
Yeah,
like,
and he's like I get along well with these animals more than I do anyone in here or some shit like that.
Because I'm part animal. Because he says that he's like part animal or something like that. He's like, okay, Riddick. Like,
like there's a really weird guy, and I kind of love that because it's like, it's like somebody. You take somebody who's like really badass and like a really like fun. He
humble brags like so much in like while he's in the prison. He's like he's a humble bragger, and it's like it matches well with Vin Diesel's personality. Like so it's just like
if anyone else were to play this role, I don't think I would have been able to like take it as serious, serious, but like enjoy it as much.
You can't have like the next portrayal of Riddick. Riddick is Vin Diesel. You can't have anyone else as Riddick.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
okay, so we have that whole thing. There's the teacup scene where like Kira's about to get jumped by these guys. Riddick's like, I'll kill you with my teacup. So he like crushes, like he just smashes the teacup on the rock to like kind of.
Well, first he comes down from the rope.
Oh yeah. He's on this big ship. God.
He wraps himself up in the rope and then he just like spins super duper fast, and then kills everyone.
I kind of want to like anybody who like wants to watch this. I don't want to like spoil so many of these good parts that have absolutely no point to them.
Right, but like,
It's just
but like
like
that's the movie though. But that's the movie where it's just like it's just these
yeah,
waiting for the next thing for Riddick to fucking do,
yeah,
because there's other stuff in it, and it's just like, but it's more of just like when you're watching, like, huh,
yeah.
like the
Like we get introduced to Carl Urban, who's in this
Carl
movie.
Urban,
Who's in
Billy,
it.
Billy.
Yeah.
I put Billy Skywalker as his character. Um, what's it called? And Judi Dench. Judi Dench is in it.
Yes, yes,
Um,
she's the wind elemental or
um,
whatever. Which yeah, they started putting in elemental people in this, which was also kind of a weird thing. They started going like real for fucking strange with some of this shit.
Another note I put
Um,
is Matrix Star Wars. Basically, is what I marked this movie as, is Matrix Star Wars.
that's a good yeah. That's yeah.
Um,
Okay, one more off-topic thing that I want to talk about on an earlier scene in this is there's the point where everybody's having to kneel, and then Riddick doesn't kneel, and he's all like, "Oh, do you want to die?" And he's like, "No, but I'll take a piece of that guy," and points at like the big dude, and then he goes over and he grabs and he like takes the knife out of this dude's back because for some reason this big beefy guy just has a knife stuck in his back. And he goes over, rips it out, and like kills the guy. And the guy goes, "Oh, what do you think about this blade?" And it does the most just like wackiest like knife spinning thing I have ever seen, ever. Where like it just breaks the laws of physics
um,
with like how the fucking knife spins in his hand and then he flips it
yeah,
over his hand and he
yeah.
does this shit.
It's,
Like it's not even looking like he's like touching it. It's just like spinning so
he's like,
fast. He's like
like,
and then you're like, what just happened?
what happened? Like, what's it called? Tandy Newton's also in this movie. Carl Urban's like wife is just like, come on, you're so cool. Why don't you take over the kingdom or something, huh? You're
Oh
such a
yeah,
good
yeah,
boy.
that's right. Yeah. And then
Eh,
she has that like eyeliner that like burns her skin.
right, like she like singes her face, like,
There there's a lot of things in this where it's like would I put this as like a really high tier movie? Absolutely not. Would I
like
put this
no,
as so much fun that you just don't give a shit what's happening? 100%.
absolutely, absolutely.
100%.
Where it's
That's
just like you didn't need to add that it
main reason.
singes her eyes, but you added it, and
They just
it's
add so
super
much stuff.
super cool.
So fun. This is why I brought this series to you because I was like, okay, I know John's gonna understand how stupid this series is, but just how perfect this series is also for it being like this wacky, wild, and just out there.
I also wanted to note that in order for this movie to make sense, I had to watch it over and over again. Like all of these movies,
Yes.
I've watched like Pitch Black like 5 times. I watched the second movie 3 times, and the first one like twice, or the third one like twice. Like and like it's not because and it's always but it's not because like it's because I didn't understand it, but I loved the scene so much that I wanted to understand it.
Yeah. My dad first introduced us to this movie because it was on TNT on TV. And we were watching Chronicles of Riddick, and we're like, "This is so cool!" And we're watching it, and we're just like, we're watching all this dumb shit that's going
Right.
on.
It's
Him doing the teacup, him doing the fucking Pat and the Bear, him doing the thing where it's like when they're going to the prison, and he just like pushes that dude up into like the light thing, and then like knocks him off when they have to run across. It's just there's so much shit in this movie that it's like there's not really a dull moment. There's a couple like maybe 5 minutes of like certain parts are like a little lore heavy and stuff, but like
I like it when they go
every
to the voiceovers for Riddick because some of his lines are kind of stupid, but like it's great.
oh yeah
Like what's it
oh
called?
yeah
There's bad days, and then there's legendary bad days. Where it's like, okay, yeah, I guess so.
yeah I guess there are yeah never thought of it like that.
uh,
Oh.
what's it called? Between
um
yeah,
I'm yeah okay, so Chronicles of Riddick, a bunch of shit happens. of him figuring out the. I'll just quickly do a rundown of this. There's a quick thing of him taking out tombs. You figure that out. Him trying to find the people that may have sold him out. He figures that out. Figures out that what's her face, Kaya is in the prison. Um, Tombs takes him to the prison, so Riddick is able to break this lady out. Bunch of fun shit happens in the prison. Prison's probably one of the best parts of the movie. They manage to escape. Um, when they escape, they go back to like the Necromonger like homeworld or some shit because Kaya gets taken. And so
Kira?
Yeah, Kira, sorry. Kira gets taken. And then Riddick has to go and find her, and then you find out that she's been turned into a necromonger. And like all through this, Carl Urban's like having like a decisive thing with himself, going like, "Oh, do I serve this guy or do I try to take his spot and kill him?" And so like there's a whole thing like with
and
that.
Thandie Newton's always just going like, is just always going just like take the fucking kingdom. It's yours.
Yeah.
Take the fucking kingdom, babe. You're so hot. Like
Yeah.
like she's
so like
yeah.
There's like a whole like side story thing of that. Riddick then manages to go, and it's just like a lot of like one thing after another, and kind of like snowballs into like all this stuff. Some of the stuff is like, oh, okay, I don't know why they did that when they could have done that.
All right, yeah, it's like all right, yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, sure, okay, whatever, right? But eventually Riddick manages to get to the main guy who's in control of all the necromongers, and then proceeds to have like a one-on-one battle with him. But this dude's able to like soul shift kind of deal, so he's able to kind of like go faster than people can like really realize or some shit due to his soul or some weird fucking thing like that. And has one of my favorite absolutely stupid lines where Riddick is about to like kill this guy, and then Carl Urban is also going to swing at this guy, so the guy has to decide if he wants to go into Carl Urban's attack or Riddick's attack, right? And dies. So he goes to Riddick because like there's like the whole thing of him like speeding around beating the shit out of Riddick, and then Riddick is all like showing how badass he is, and then Carl Urban's like, oh, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy, and goes to like swing down on him, and the guy's like, oh no, and then like goes to like run this way, but Riddick is getting up and then grabs the knife and stabs it in his head, and does one of my favorite things where he like stabs it in and just breaks it off.
Right.
And I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. But then he walks up, sits on the necromonger throne, and goes, you keep what you kill. And then the movie fucking
I have
ends.
that. You keep what you kill.
You keep what you kill.
I have that twice on here. You keep what you kill.
Oh yeah.
What's it called? And I guess he's the chosen one too.
He just becomes the leader because he killed the leader.
Right. Someone.
And
yeah.
It was a little like, okay.
Now
right.
Riddick is the king.
Yeah. So like Pitch Black, Riddick is kind of like anti-hero, bad guy, kind of becoming a good guy kind of a deal, or just kind of like helping people out when he was like seen as the bad guy. It's like, okay, he's kind of like villainy, kind of cartoony in some of the aspects that he does, especially like with talking to like the pilot and stuff in like the first one. Second one, it just shows off all of his fucking badassery, and it's just a whole like action movie to be like, no, this is why Riddick's cool.
But like
Riddick's cool.
Riddick was like part of like some kind of prophecy or something like that they
Yeah.
foretold or something like that, and it's like, we were hoping someone would show up like you, and it's like, Riddick? Like,
yeah. That awkward guy who just
that
like,
guy
rips people's hair. Like what?
Yeah, like he's like, yeah, like it's weird. Like he's a fucking weird guy. Like, why is he the chosen one? And it's like, that's why I put in my notes. I put this dope is the chosen one.
Yeah,
Like,
honestly. Like
uh,
I love it. But then we go on to the third one, which is Riddick, which
oh, Kira dies,
man,
by the way.
yes, Kira dies. Sorry. Kira gets stabbed by the big bad in the Necromonger like HQ thing.
Yeah.
Or no, wait, doesn't she like
Hold on, let me see.
she gets like speared or some shit?
Um,
Or knocked back onto something. I don't remember, but she gets like stabbed through the stomach and dies. And then that's kind of what like gets Riddick to get like really angry to kill him.
yeah, like he basically just becomes king of the necromongers, and that's kind of how the movie ends. Where
Yeah.
just like he's just like it's just like you killed the man, and now you are king.
Yeah.
And you know Billy Blazes isn't too freaking happy about that. Um,
And then we have
the third movie.
Riddick,
Now we're on the third movie. Now, the third
which is
movie, I would
just titled
say,
Riddick.
I this one I would say is kind of like my least favorite.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Um,
This is definitely the bottom of the
it came out in 2013.
this one amazes me for like coming out in 2013
It's not
somehow.
terrible, but like it's just like it's really not good.
The thing is it's just pitch black again.
Yeah, it really is. It's just like the
It's
first
just the
movie.
same thing as
Cause
yeah.
like there's so many like parallels that I saw with just like the monsters, like they got to survive on like another planet.
Yeah. So with number 3, what happens is in the beginning it shows that Riddick's like, "Oh, I'm the king of the necromongers, but none of them like me, so they're going to try and do this thing and try and kill me, but I escaped from them on this like deserted planet or some shit." And then proceeds to survive this desert planet, or not a desert planet, they're just this new planet after the necromongers basically are just like, okay, bye,
No,
right?
they just kind of like just drop them there.
Yeah,
They're
they're
just kind
just
of
like,
like
we're gonna betray you, we can't, yeah, oh no, we can't kill you, we're just gonna lift off in our ship, and then they leave,
yeah, like
and that's
Vako's
it.
like I want to be the leader now, and just throws him
Yeah,
off the ship. Like and then just and then it's him
and then it's
and
just
like
pitch black
it's
again.
just pitch black again. Yeah, like it's there's that. A nut like John's dad shows up. Like
Yeah, so how it happens
John's his
is
dad. Yeah.
you well no so you find out about like a bunch of the shit in the thing as he's trying to survive. He is all hurt and stuff, so he's trying to like patch himself up. He finds these big scorpion things that are like really scary that live in the water, but they can't survive outside of the water. So you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense, cool, stay away from the water, do that, okay, cool. And he's like, trying to survive, finds this dog alien thing, becomes friends with it, whatever. And he manages to find a like an outpost, and this outpost has a like security beacon or something, or not a security beacon, an emergency beacon.
Yeah, an emergency beacon.
And so he sends the emergency beacon with his credentials, knowing that there's going to be bounty hunters coming straight for him.
Right.
And his whole thing is like, oh, I can take down bounty hunters, might as well get myself a free ship. And basically does, some of the same shit in that sense, but Riddick is more now the person killing other people in this movie rather than, the aliens. Like Riddick kills so many more people in this movie
Right.
than like
There's
in
another
the
thing
first
with
one.
power nodes like that they did before.
Oh yeah, there's a whole thing where they put all is like ever to make sure like nobody leaves or nobody does something, or like until they figure out something, somebody locks all of the power cells for the
Yeah.
ships in this thing and then puts a claymore on the front of it, and they're all freaking out because they think that it's just a whole thing of like Riddick playing mind games. But for some reason there's like some lady who comes down in another merc ship with Johns' dad, and they're trying to get Riddick because Papa John's wants to figure out
Papa
what
John's is a
happened.
great name.
Yeah, wants to figure out what happened to his son. So that's the whole thing with that. Is like he's all like, "Oh, you killed my son," and Riddick takes until like the very end of the movie to go like, "Nah, a bunch of aliens killed your son," or like your son like, was trying to do all this shit, and I was just trying to escape. I was trying to do my shit,
And he's
and the
like,
guy's like,
okay,
"We're friends now," and it's like,
now I guess we're best pals.
I,
It's like, we gotta
yeah,
team up, and they team up, and it's like, this man killed your son. Like,
yeah. And like, so the second Merc team is honestly fine. They're whatever. Like, they're not really there to like oppose Riddick, right? Daddy Johns just wants to figure out what happens to his son. Well, these other set of mercenaries, which John Batista is one of them, which I didn't.
right, I remember
I
that.
forgot about that. But John Batista is one of them, and it's just a bunch of stupid fucking mercs that don't know how to
Yeah,
tell
like
the truth, and they just keep lying and shit, and then it keeps getting them killed,
right, and
and
there's like
people keep
there's a
dying.
whole
It's just
nother
like,
monster that just like that, and Riddick's just like, that's my best pal. There's like I forget what her name is. Uh, she
oh
but she tries to like tame it, but like she gets like either I'm not sure if she gets killed or like she gets injured badly,
yeah,
or she's mortally wounded then dies or something.
what is it? Her name's Doll,
Hold on,
right? Yeah.
this is what happens when I don't watch a movie for a while. I forget everyone's name.
Well, honestly, the this one's not the best, so I don't
Yeah.
necessarily fault us for this. But no, there's this one lady in here who's like what, like a strong lesbian or something, and she keeps like she's super badass in this whole thing.
Right.
She's trying to show her
I
place,
think
trying to
they
show
state
like
that she's a lesbian, right? And
something like that, or she's like, I don't like men, or some shit like
yeah,
that. Like,
something
I
like
don't,
that.
you're not my type, or some shit like that, right? It's
It's like, what is
something
your?
like
And he's
that.
like, what is your? And then like Riddick asks like, what is your type? And she says like female or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
pretty
something
sure
along
that
those
they say
lines.
something like that, just because like we need her to have a character, and her character is
Yeah,
lesbian.
and during this, Riddick just harasses her
Right.
through the whole
The
fucking
whole
movie, and
time.
it's so uncomfortable. Like in the first one, when like he was doing like
It's
kind of
to
that
her he
creepy
says it
shit.
matches your nipples, right?
Yeah, because there's a whole thing where like she's
What the
getting out of
fuck
the
is that?
shower, and he's just like watching her in the bathroom, and like apparently the scene is so like he can take like the little compact mirror or some shit. He's just sitting there for like 20 minutes watching her shower before like he decides to like take something or something, and
Our
then it's all like
hero is watching this woman in the shower. Like
it's just so uncomfortable.
it's very
Like,
like it's weird. It's like doesn't make him like it doesn't like affect his character as like being like a cool guy. He doesn't do
no, it
anything
just
besides for
makes
make him weird.
is so horny. He gets so fucking horny, and I think like Vin Diesel probably was thinking like, oh, like I'm the cool guy. I get the chicks. I get like
I'm so
this
cool. I'm
kind
gonna
of
make her
stuff.
switch teams, bro. Like
Yeah, at the end where it's all like, there's no Riddick is the last fucking person to make me change my mind on like have any of like sexual awakening.
what the
Like
fuck? Like that's what
like
like that's something that Vin. It feels like it's something that Vin Diesel wanted, where he's just
yeah,
like, I want to be so cool that like that
I could
I can
turn
I can
make
turn
them all
anyone.
straight for me. It's
Yeah,
like,
make them all turn right into
ugh,
me.
I don't like that.
And it's like it's like
Bottom line, the third Riddick movie is just it's I wouldn't say it's horrible or it's bad, but it's definitely the least of the three because there's still fun stuff in it. Because like if you're watching it for like big lore reasons, or this is gonna happen or this is gonna happen, you're gonna get absolutely nothing. Like you're not gonna get the info dump like you did with Chronicles of Riddick or Pitch Black or you know character building and like you have in Pitch Black, or like all the action scenes and world building that you do in Chronicles of Riddick. You're just gonna get like a rehash of Pitch Black, but with Riddick being a lot more predatorial and very uncomfortable and
Right.
like
It's I don't like I really didn't like watching the third one. It was just like all
it's
right,
there.
well, here it is.
Yeah.
Cuz like the second I think the second one I enjoyed the most
Yeah.
because it um I liked it better as like an action movie because it really made it feel like Riddick was like this character more than it's like he's
There's some dumb lines in that even just some of the quotes will make this your favorite movie. At least for me. There's some dumb shit in this that just anyway, sorry, I cut you off.
yeah,
Keep
and
going.
like I no, I'm for one thing like the first time when I watched Pitch Black, I was just like, all right, well, this sure is a movie. And the second one, I was just like, okay, I get it now. I
Yeah.
understand why you wanted to show me this now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Pitch Black is like, oh, okay, this is kind of fun. This is okay.
this
And
is
then
fun.
once
This
you
is a
get
fun little
to
movie.
Chronicles of Riddick, it goes batshit.
I
It
love
goes so fucking wild.
I
And that,
love like how basically it's just like Riddick is like some fucking badass. Like the Necromongers are like like some Dune type sci-fi characters. Like it's just like that they try to like mix in a lot of sci-fi. It feels like they try to mix in a lot of sci-fi influences, which I like
yeah.
because it makes sense in like a big galaxy kind of perspective. And like I feel like that's what they wanted to do in the second one, where it'd be like this isn't just one planet of one thing. It's like there's a whole bunch of shit here.
Yeah.
Um, and they do the thing with like Star Wars. They don't really explain it. They're just I guess in another galaxy.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm totally fine for having like really big things kind of just like not be explained for the point of just being like it's its own thing. Like we're not gonna try and like go super heavy into this like thing or like how these planets work or how this galaxy works or like all this shit. We're just gonna like throw you all of like this information about like what's going on these planets or what's going on with these characters or what's going on with the stuff and world build it from there so that way it's like, oh, I get attached to these characters, so I'm kind of getting into the story a bit more in that aspect rather than like, oh, they're on this planet that goes to this planet, and this planet has a trade route with this planet, and this planet and this planet work together well with this, but they don't go well here. It's not like a whole fucking thing like that. It's just like
yeah, they don't
this
have anything
whole
like
galaxy is fucking weird,
they
and
like.
next movie you might see
It's
something
like
absolutely wild.
it's really just like it feels like it. They make it simple where it's just where George Lucas is like, there's some weird trade federation going on right now with these worlds. Isn't that weird? And it's like, no, like, and then with this
I
one,
don't give a shit.
it's just like
We got a prison with a planet
it's like
that
these are the
has lava.
necromongers. This is the prison planet with lava.
Yeah.
Like and like those like look out! There's all these fucking crazy monsters on this planet when it goes dark and there's two suns. Blah! Like
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff where it's just like,
it's sci-fi for the sake of being sci-fi,
yeah, yep.
which I really like
That's
about it.
I think why I gravitate towards this so much is because like
And apparently there's gonna be a fourth one. So
some time,
someday
I don't know,
and
that's been being said for so long.
right.
It's only almost been 10 years since the last one. Like,
Who knows?
oh my god, in 2 years, Chronicles of Riddick is going to be 20 years old.
Oh wow.
Like, yeah, Pitch Black's already 22 years old.
That's crazy.
It's yeah. But
Welcome to the future, everybody.
yeah.
But
Okay.
but yeah, overall, I think I might give. I'm gonna give Rick a solid.
Hang on. I want you to
Not the movie,
rate.
the
I
whole
want
the
you
whole
to
chronicle.
rate all three of them, and then I want you to rate it overall.
Okay,
So I
so
want you to put what your favorite to least favorite, rate each one, and then rate it overall.
okay. So my favorite gonna have to be Chronicles, and I give that a solid close to a 7. I'm gonna say 6.8.
Okay.
Pitch Black is 6.5
Okay.
because they both can work in their favor. I
Mhm.
think that Pitch Black would be a better movie, but for my
Yeah.
taste, where I want to see like some sci-fi sleaze,
Yeah.
I want to watch Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh yeah.
Pitch Black is okay. I saw what they did there, and Riddick is just a shit show. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna give that one at least that one's like a I don't know,
A 4.
barely a 3
Okay. Fair enough.
out of 10.
Um.
All these out of 10.
Okay. So the first one was a so Chronicles of Riddick was
So Chronicles of Riddick, close second for Pitch Black, and then Riddick is shit.
okay. And then
So
what do you rate this overall?
the whole series, the whole thing, I'm gonna give like a 6.
6.
Like
Okay.
because I'd enjoy them when they're on.
Yeah. They're the movies where you're like, I'm not gonna go nuts for them.
Like I'm scrolling through channels. I decided to turn on the TV and scroll through channels. Oh look, Riddick's on. Click.
Yeah. Or I honestly, Chronicles of Riddick would be a fun like party movie to have just kind of
Right.
on in the background. Like you guys are playing board games, drinking, talking, doing whatever. Just have Chronicles of Riddick
And it's
on
like,
in the
what's Riddick
background.
doing?
Yeah, you just look at the thing and it's like something completely different, something badass. I'm for it.
I'm for it, and I honestly heard that the game is is really good, like the first person shooter.
I'd have to play them again. I played
Escape from Butcher Bay, I heard, was the good one.
yeah, I played a little bit of that, and then I need to play. I played what was it? Assault on Dark Athena, I think.
I didn't know there was
That
two. I
was
thought it was just Escape from Butcher Bay.
there's 3 technically. Um there's another one called The Merc Files, which is a stealth action game for Android and iOS.
Oh boy,
Oh my
I better break out my Android or iOS to play
god.
that one.
Oh, apparently if you have a 360 or like a 360 or PlayStation, oh, it's on Windows too. If you get Assault on Dark Athena, apparently they have an enhanced remake of Escape from Butcher Bay. That's kind of cool.
Well, that's neat.
Okay, I gotta look into that because if we could
Perhaps.
play those, I want to play those.
Hey, that sounds good to me. Perhaps we'll do like a playthrough or something like that, like a
Yeah.
joint commentary playthrough. That's the
Okay.
best I can say instead of just us rating the game because this is a movie podcast. God damn it!
So my ratings for these movies.
Mm-hmm.
So Chronicles of Riddick was the first one I saw.
Okay.
That one is gonna have the deepest place in my heart. I love that movie. I'm gonna give it an 8, and it's
Okay.
only bumped up due to nostalgia, and I
Yeah.
will admit that, and I'll know that,
Hey, you
and
know what? These days, go for it.
I love that.
Nostalgia is at least at this point in everybody's review.
And
Even though it shouldn't be, I personally think
no,
that nostalgia shouldn't be because it needs to be. I don't know, but honestly, you know what? That
there's
comes with people we're not movie critics or anything like that. We're just fucks, you know?
yeah, and I mean, okay, so with me having the nostalgia for it and whatnot, if I were to come over to your house right now and we put on Chronicles of Riddick, you would have nothing
Oh, we'll have a
bad to say.
blast. We'll
Oh
have a
yeah,
blast watching
exactly.
it. So
So it's like,
that bumps it up to an 8 for me. You know, like if you were here, like that movie's going to be an 8 when I watch it.
yeah. Oh,
But
you're gonna
otherwise,
have so
set
much
alone,
fun.
that's a 6, you know?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I have to watch these by myself. That's okay. So I got extremely high watching both Pitch Black.
I feel like that's
Actually,
the only way
all
to
three of
watch
those.
one of these because like I got super
It
stoned when I
made
was
me
watching this too.
it made me love Pitch Black so much more because I had my friend who doesn't usually watch these kinds of movies with me come in and kind of give me their opinion on it, which is how we came up with the whole like he feels like a bad guy, kind of like over the shoulder, like giving like bad advice to like one of the characters versus
Yeah.
like in the last Riddick movie where he's all like, "Hey, your nipples pink," and you're like, "I don't like that."
Nice tits, bitch.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Honestly, it's there's such like a contrast, but like I would put Pitch Black probably 7.5 because I watched it when I was younger. I watched it like early 2000s, kind of close, like probably within 5 years of it coming out,
right.
kind of deal. Um, we watched Chronicles of Riddick so much. That's probably about an 8 for me. I could just have a loop of that prison scene from start to finish on for like 4 hours, and I don't think I'd get bored of it. Like that whole prison sequence was like one of those childhood memories where I'm like, I just want to go back to this movie just to watch this section. Like kind of like in Star Wars Episode 1, where I would only watch the pod race. I would just go back and watch that pod race over and again. It's like the same thing with the prison scene. It's just like I could just watch this over and over again. I love that. Dark Fury, probably 7. It's fine. It's okay. It's for 30 minutes, it does its job. Riddick, 4, probably 4. I want to be a little nicer to it because like I was at least able to laugh at a bunch of the dumb shit, and then like some of the stuff was going on. I was like, okay, I can kind of
It
have fun
matches
with
your.
this.
I give it a 4, but that nipples line really just gives it like brings
Oh
it
yeah.
down a point for me. So.
And then like at the end where he's like, "Oh yeah, straddle me or fucking whatever," and
Oh
then like she
yeah, I
straddles
forgot about
him,
when you said that. That was
or,
weird.
or he's like hop on or some shit, and then she gets like so excited to like hop onto his
Straddle
lap, and
me.
it's like, what? No,
it's
yeah, Riddick is not great,
it's not
not great.
great. And I
Um,
want to apologize to anybody who is gay that sees these movies. And I mean
yeah,
that in the nicest way possible, because you don't need to be convinced by Vin Diesel
no,
to
yeah,
do
yeah.
anything. All right,
Having Vin Diesel's fantasy of trying to get somebody from the opposite team
from
to
the from another side to go to the dark
yeah.
side.
Okay, other side of Vin Diesel,
the other side of Vin
the
Diesel.
dark side.
The dark. Yeah,
Um,
but
overall,
yeah,
uh, oh man,
I'm happy that we're doing the podcast again.
8. Yes,
I
definitely.
enjoy talking about, and the next episode you should see something pretty fun from us because we got some bangers on the way.
Yeah, we have a couple ideas that we're wanting to
I'm not sure what the
do.
next podcast episode is going to be, but the next time we discuss movies is going to be fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like
Um,
for the next episode of the podcast, we'll get a guest.
we yeah,
I'll find because
we'll
I
figure it
think
out.
it's my turn, right?
We'll figure it out. Yeah, it's your turn.
I
Because
think
I did Riddick, so now it's your turn. Yeah.
I can't really think of any movies to really like suggest to you right now. So I feel like
That's fine.
let's get an outside perspective because we haven't had I've had guests on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Let's see who we can find because I feel
Okay.
like some of our pals might have some fun stuff to say.
Might have some fun stuff. Anyway,
Who
sorry.
knows?
Last thing. Overall, whole series, I want to give a 9 out of 10.
Okay,
Mm.
okay,
And
fine.
that just for the instance of it being so batshit crazy, so wild, so like out there, building its own world, yet having a fun Vin Diesel character being the star of this sci-fi fantasy world, that it just, like you said, feels like Vin Diesel being put into space trying to work his way of being a badass and just kind of faking it.
Like
Kind of,
it felt like that he read a like he did, it felt like he read a book and it's like I'm gonna be Riddick. I'm not Vin Diesel.
yeah,
I'm Riddick. Like
yeah. It's like it's everybody else in the movie does their such a good job. Vin Diesel makes it feel like he's playing pretend, but somehow gains the powers from playing pretend,
I think that's what I love the most about it is that
and it's so
it
good.
feels like Vin Diesel just playing pretend the whole time.
He's
And
he's fucking he's giving it all.
he is
He's giving it his all.
he is hamming it like a can of spam.
Oh yeah. And so that's why I'm putting this as so high up. Is just there's so much bullshit that I love that it's like,
Understandable.
oh, there's this issue, there's this issue, there's this issue, there's this issue. I don't give a fuck. I have so much fun with these movies. It doesn't even matter. Like that's one thing I really need, or like I want people to kind of like understand if they do, or not understand, but like I feel like more people need to come to
Jimbi's
terms
based is
with,
what he's trying to say.
have fun with what you're watching. You don't have to be critical of every fucking
Right.
thing.
I agree with that. You don't have to be critical of everything. Like, by the way, I'm gonna say when I said 6 out of 10, 6 isn't, to quote YMS, 6 isn't bad.
No, no,
6 is
no.
not a bad score.
I think 5 is a baseline. Five
Right.
five is like, is basically 0, and then if you go below that, then it's like there's more misses than there are like actual like good things, and then if you go above that, it's like okay, it's actually bringing
Right.
something.
There's definitely credit to this movie. Like the Pitch Black,
Yeah,
if it like is definitely like a pretty good movie.
yeah.
And Riddick is a really fun movie.
Oh yeah.
Like I think like that's something that I've noticed about like me watching movies throughout all my years is that there's a difference between good movies and fun movies.
Yes.
Good movies can be fun, but like
Yeah.
there are movies that are just like they like you could see this exact like same plot in a different movie like next door to it, right?
Yeah.
But it's
You could
what they
the
do. It's
same
what they do
premise.
with it,
Yeah.
you know?
And it's how like honestly overall it's how goofy they do so much of the shit, like having the necromongers be like these like weaselly like soul people, and then they have like this absolutely ridiculous prison. They have this big thing of a planet that's a complete desert that's like nothing but light goes into darkness, and then a bunch of aliens come out and they have to try and survive. Then they get a bunch
Oh,
of
haven't seen
glowworms
that
and
one
put in.
before.
Yeah, and then they instead of darkness they do a bunch of scorpions in the rain for the last one, which is kind of dumb, but
Yeah, like a bunch of space scorpions and
yeah. But I'm not gonna say the last one muddies anything, because the third one really doesn't bring anything besides like closure to like John's dad.
but it doesn't it doesn't fuck anything up too bad.
Yeah, like Chronicles of Riddick was like absolute like lore, just building the world, doing that, and then Riddick is just like, oh, another contained little thing, doesn't matter too much, not building too much, just
I
its own little thing.
I'm thinking like more in what makes Riddick the last one so bad.
Yeah.
And I guess this will be kind of like my final thought is that like at some point during the movie, David Twohy asked like, "Hey Vin, what do you want Riddick to do?" And Vin Diesel said, "I want Riddick to make to turn a lesbian into my girlfriend."
It was like, I want to eat a plate of barbecue ribs while lifting weights and killing some dude with my legs. It's like,
Yeah,
I don't think
exactly.
that's gonna turn out so well. It's like, can I make a lesbian straight? And they're like, yeah, fine.
And David Twohy was just like, "Yeah, bro."
The third one's so uncomfortable, man.
It,
It's wild.
it's
It's so
a
wild.
it's a
You,
just and we're joking, of course, but
it's just
it's just ridiculous. Like,
the also my last thought on this is like, what I like is you could watch Pitch Black, Chronicles of Riddick, or Riddick all out of order. You could watch any of them in any
in
order,
any order.
and it'd still be fine.
Well, I guess not
honestly.
Riddick, but you can watch Pitch Black or Chronicles of Riddick
Yeah.
at any time.
I mean, Riddick in itself isn't great, so it's like whatever you watch in Riddick, it's just gonna.
It's an okay introduction. Like if you watch that, it'll hopefully make you want to watch one of the other two movies.
Yeah, yeah. If it's all like, oh, there was stuff before this, like this
Yeah.
was kind of interesting, and then you watch the other ones, you're like, oh, okay. No, that one sucked. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Got it.
No, love
Um
this series. Deep, deep place in my heart, and I'm glad that you didn't hate these movies. And I thought that Chronicles of Riddick was going to be your favorite, and I'm so glad I was right about that.
and we're right, and like it was it I'm glad I watched the Chronicles of Riddick. I'm very happy that I watched that one.
It's so much fun. It's honestly so much fun.
All right. Well, I guess that's about it, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I don't
thank you guys for
any
watching.
any last minute housekeeping that we could think of. We already talked about what we're
Um,
planning on the future. Might have a guest. We have a couple
we have well,
ideas that we might be working
I
around.
think I'll let you know to kind of hint at it. Our next episode should be pretty sweet, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
I guess
It's cozy and sweet.
well the well oh
I mean, we're gonna be cozy
I
watching
mean
this movie
it'll
for
be
sure.
cozy and sweet. Well, one will be cozy and sweet. The
As in
other
the other
one,
one will be a
the other one will
traumatic
be a bit
nightmare.
sour. In fact,
Yeah.
a little sour, maybe a little
A little tart. Kind of tastes like dirt a little
tart.
bit.
It feels like it. The
It's like
one movie is
sand grinding in your
one
mouth.
movie is like a piece of candy, and the other movie is like someone just threw dirt in your eye.
Yeah, it's like yeah, exactly.
But we won't get into that until the next time.
Exactly.
Thank you guys for watching, Jimmy. Thank you so
Yeah.
much
Uh,
for
I'm
being here
glad
again.
I got to rant about one of my favorite series.
I'm glad we got to talk about it. And this time I know we'll have plenty of notes to say about the next one. So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
Next one will be great.
stay tuned.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say, but
I
that's
you know
it.
we'll figure something out.
That's it. All right. Well, I'll
I'm
end it.
out. I'm done.
Okay, end it now. All right. It's over now. It's over now.